Where are we going to be on the next regulations? Hey, everybody, start now. Don't wait. Don't wait. How many updates do we have to get from EPA, IDEM, you all, everyone at these conferences? The state associations, AWWA, the Alliance, the IWEA, all these different things. People talk about it, talk about it, and talk about it, and talk about it, and talk about it. I'm done talking. Why aren't we not doing it yet? Hurry up. Why are you taking so long?
Welcome to the Make Water Work podcast, where we dive into the people, ideas, and innovations shaping the future of water. I'm your host, Isaac Pellerin, and alongside my co-host, Megan Glover, the founder of 120 Water, we bring you insights from hundreds of incredible conversations we've had over the past 9 years with inspiring and energizing leaders in the water industry. Each week, we share those stories and conversations with entrepreneurs, community champions, and innovators who are making water work for everyone. Whether you're a water professional, a curious innovator, or simply passionate about our most precious resource, this podcast is for you. Let's get started.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Make Water Work podcast, where Isaac and I celebrate the water professionals that are innovating and serving our water industry. And today, I think we're really excited to have probably our first operator on the pod, the actual person in the field, in the trenches, making it all happen.
Yeah. This one is super incredible. Scott Hamm lives truly up to his name.
Yes.
He is a ham in every sense of the word, and he doesn't mind letting you know that. But he's truly dedicated to his craft,
Absolutely.
his service as both a water utility operator, as serving his community, serving his country, and has taken that all the way through to being an incredible trainer for the next generation. So it really encapsulates what this podcast is for. Scott is someone who makes water work for everyone. And so let's listen in.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Make Water Work, where Isaac and I talk to water professionals across the country who are innovating, making water work for their communities, and change makers. And I think we've got a good one today.
Oh, we do. I am so excited to get to speak with Scott Hamm. For those who have ever been to an AWWA ACE event or any number of conferences, you probably hear Scott, hear his loud voice from the MC area, hydrant hysteria, meter challenge, those kind of things. But we've had the pleasure of getting to work more closely with Scott and consider him a friend. So Scott, welcome to the podcast.
Wow, thank you. So Isaac and Megan are just calling me a big mouth, and I love it. Outstanding. I've been called that, I don't know, a couple million times. But yes, I have been known to use my large body and big mouth in the industry of water and wastewater around the country. So thank you so much for your kind words.
Yeah, you bet.
Good to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you. Pleasure to have you.
Yeah. Well, and I would love, we love asking every guest that comes on the podcast how water found them. We find that everyone has a really compelling story about how they got connected to water. So tell us about yours, Scott.
Oh my goodness. I was extremely blessed to be raised in small town southern Indiana. And mine is the crazy story that some of it you have heard, some of it you may not have heard, but I actually lived next door to the water utility office. We were a municipality, the town of Greenville, and I rode a unicycle and did juggling and different things when I was a kid. And I was riding my unicycle down Clark Street, and the superintendent and the town manager rolls up next to me, Gary Getrost, in his little, whatever it was, Ford Ranger or Chevy S10 or whatever back then. And he stopped to me. Hey, kid, I'm 11 years old and, tiny, big, just about as big around as my pinky, a little kid that was tall and thin. And he said, "Are you that little Ham kid?" "Yes, sir." Mr. Getrost. And he's like, "Are you good at math?" And I'm like, what kind of question is that? It's like, "Well, I want to know if you want to do some work for me. I hear you work for all the farmers and, cut wood and work on the farms. And you're a hard worker and a good kid and all that." And he's like, "I was wondering if you wanted to help me read water meters for Floyd's Knobs Water and Greenville Water and, learn the treatment plant and things of that nature." I'm like, "Well, what's a water meter?" "What's the little thing in the ground that we put water through? It's like your cash register for the water utility." It's like, okay. So yeah, game on. So Saturday morning for 4 hours, I ran like a deer. He was like, oh my goodness, we've never read meters this fast in all of our lives. So Gary and his wife, he wound up getting me to work for him at Greenville and Floyd's Knobs Water when I was a kid. Is there anybody from the Department of Labor on here? Well, hopefully that's 46 years ago. So when he took me out to the reservoir where we all used to go fishing for bluegill and bass and all that, he taught me how to think like water. He taught me the water cycle and said H2O, the elements of water, hydrogen, 2 parts hydrogen, 1 part oxygen, and the water cycle and how it fell down. And the water came from a spring or a cave that fed the reservoir. And he taught me through the whole treatment process of getting the water from the water cycle through the lake, through the plant to our taps for safe drinking water. And so he always challenged us, think like water, think like water. And now, as an instructor for certifying hundreds of people in distribution and treatment and also wastewater, I challenge everyone to think like you're a little drop of water and how you pass through the cycle and through the treatment and through the pipes to be safe drinking water.
It's
Oh
poetic.
my God, that is, I know, that is
love it.
amazing. And so then, Scott, what your journey? You've worn a lot of hats, which I think makes you just so perfectly poised to really be like the godfather, the trainer of water. Kind of walk us through all of the hats you've worn and how those roles have kind of shaped you today, who you are today.
Oh, I worked for them out there. I call it up on the hill, but Floyd's Knobs was cut through the glaciers of the Ohio Valley. And, all of us country kids up there said, we'll never go over the hill to the city. Well, guess what? I worked for the utilities in 1989. I put an application in to become a superintendent for Silver Creek Water. I met Heidi, my wife. I went over the hill. And the rest is history. Oh my goodness. My former manager that founded Silver Creek Water and his friends that founded so many rural water utilities through the old Farmers Home Administration, which now we've got, EPA and state revolving fund and different things. But my former boss at Silver Creek Water hired me in and found out I could already do so many things from what I learned from Floyd's Knobs in Greenville. So they were game changers, forward thinking, progressive people. And when I came to Silver Creek, it was like night and day. I went from a municipality of a clerk treasurer worrying about every penny to a very progressive, fast growing, Louisville, Kentucky jumped across the river. Wow.
Yeah.
So we had to get ready for it. And then I found out what being capacity development, financially, managerially, and technically capable to run a utility. Oh my goodness. And so all the new regulations I didn't realize, all the things that were coming down the pipeline, back then we didn't have lead and copper rule. Back then, we didn't have revised total coliform rule. We didn't have PFAS. We didn't have backflow prevention and cross connection control. We didn't have corrosion control. We didn't have all these things. And so I had to learn that. And so going through all of the Indiana Department of Environmental Management or IDEM or EPA updates and learning how to be compliant and going to the conferences and seeing the exhibit hall with vendors like you all, 120 Water, how are you going to help me? What are you going to do to make me successful and stay compliant? So as that happened, of me coming into Silver Creek Water in 89, then, of course, 2001, 9/11 hit, and I'd been in the military since I was a junior in high school, Indiana Army National Guard, and then active duty, and then 9/11 hit, and we started deploying. And I went to Bosnia, then I went to Afghanistan, then I went to Iraq, and then the border. So I have been retired for a couple of years now from the military, but I put 27 and a half years in the U.S. Army and Indiana Army National Guard. With, gone for 10 years through deployments, and was able to keep my job and work through that. But part of my military duty also in between deployments, I became a branch chief at Atterbury, Indiana for a regional training institute, which we instructed soldiers. So I learned everything I could about instructing people properly, becoming a trainer, a certified trainer, and then going through, IDEM and different things. So everything is built. I'm a professional entertainer. I ride a unicycle, juggle magic balloons. I still do things. And then I also do veteran suicide prevention and awareness and do a lot of training for our first responders, police, fire, EMS, and also our veterans. So everything has been just another, like you said, I have many different hats and different uniforms and different things that I put on periodically, but it's just being able to share with wonderful folks within our industry has been absolutely amazing. I know that's probably more than you want to know, but
Oh, no, that's
and I hate
perfect.
bragging,
No. And thank you for your service. I mean, first and
you're welcome.
foremost, because
Thank you for your tax dollars sending me to 23 different countries, some less cool than others.
Oh my gosh. I think to me, as you were telling all that, like the thread that kind of weaves through that beyond the training aspect is just, and it's a thing that really attracted me to water was just that when I talk with water professionals, they see themselves as public servants. You clearly have that service mindset, both for country, for your community, and then even in the roles of what it means to be a trainer to help help that next generation really understand what it is that they need to do. And I was kind of curious, like, why is training and education, why has that become such a passion for you?
Well, because I was put on this earth with a big mouth and a big body, and I'm able to use it. I sometimes have to be careful of my correctness and vernacular. And so even some of my folks, like my boss, is like, okay, candid but polished. I'm going to get a plate on my desk. Candid but polished. But as we look through this, you're absolutely right. I came from small town Indiana. I was the street department, the water, the sewer. We delivered things to the little old ladies. We were public servants, and I didn't realize that. I love my first responders. The people that are called to civic duty. I love it. However, our utility members are the ones that are up 3 o'clock in the morning fixing leaks. My kids have reminded me, now they're all grown and I'm getting grandbabies finally. But they've reminded me when they were little kids, we never went to a Thanksgiving or Christmas holiday event without getting my pager going off. How many people have pagers nowadays? Really? But my beep, beep, beep. Oh, got to go. Ring, rotary phone. Click, 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 click. Hello. Oh, yes, there's a leak down the road. I got to go, kids,
Yeah.
And so, you're calling people and then you get dee, 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 and then we get cellular phones and now we've got apps. There's an app for that. You had me download the app for this podcast, really. So this is hopefully going to resonate with folks. The next generation is going to provide good, safe drinking water, public safety, public health through our Safe Drinking Water Act, wastewater. I am teaching people water conservation, contamination, and we don't make the mess anymore. Back in the day before we knew better, we would change the oil and use that oil or transmission fluid for dust control on gravel driveways out in the country. And then where was the well? Located in the circle driveway in front of the farmhouse. And so we were putting contaminants, nitrates, fertilizers, pesticides, herbicides, and all that. So we have learned through the decades how to provide safe drinking water and properly dispose of our wastewater. And in my classes, I'm learning I have to take it back to the basics. I assume everybody knows everything. And I try to motivate. We're going to get into a segment that I'm going to love talking to 120 Water about. And that's at some point, you got to start doing the right thing. Hurry up. Why are you not doing it yet?
Oh, man.
I know. Hurry up. I mean, Scott, small town, but very absolutely not small-minded. And I mean, that's one of I think why we got along so well is you've always been at the forefront of not only do the right thing, but do it thinking about the next generation, setting this up for, success, not for me, right? But for the people who are going to replace me, which is inclusive of adopting technologies, doing things that you don't have to do. We've talked sometimes at these podcasts, there are box checkers, and they're actually people who want to implement best practices. Scott, how can other small utilities, adopt that larger mindset, right?
Just communicate, coordinate with others. You know what? I found you through Daryl Neville at Borden Tri-County because we were talking. We get into meetings where, like, we have Southern Indiana Water Professionals Association, a bunch of people that just get together once a quarter, have lunch. But when you put utility people together from small town Indiana or small town America, you put them together and great things happen. Like I always say, if I ever want anything done, put a bunch of veterans in the room and you're going to get something to happen. Okay. But same thing with the water and wastewater industry. You get small town folks who are not small minded, like you said. I love that. I love that. I basically said, wow, here comes the lead and copper service line inventory. Man, I don't even know what I'm going to do. What are you doing, Daryl? He's like, oh man, we hired 120 water. What do you always say, Hamm? Don't make it harder than it is. Okay, so what are they doing for you? And then he told me, and I'm like, we can't afford that. We're small time. And he's like, what are you talking about? You can't afford it. Look at this. And he wouldn't share with me the quote because that's not the ethically right thing to do. Each utility needs to pay their own way, and they've got different populations and different whatever. So, whatever his name was, my salesman, Steve or whoever, he's like, saw him at the conference. I'm like, dude, you talk more than I do, you know? And it's like, all right, I need a quote for Silver Creek Water, blah, 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 blah. What are you going to do? And then I found out, oh my goodness, well, here's the scope. Here's what we can and what we will do. If you need more, we can do that. But sent me the bid, and I'm like, I'd be an idiot not to take you up on this. Really? And then I found out, what? There's a grant for that? I'd never gotten a grant as a not-for-profit water corporation. Well, you qualify now. Usually it's the municipalities, the cities and towns, the this or that. And so, it's a thing. It's a thing. But I'm also that guy that doesn't take no for the first answer. Okay. I also, and I've learned that through a lot of good business folks, but I also looked at some outside the box thinking. Do I hire a new employee to make this happen? Or do I get a good vendor to come in and do the right thing? And then, of course, it didn't take me long to find out all of your staff and everybody. And it's like, oh, well, I worked with them, for the last this many years or whatever, or watch people go through the industry. And then it's like, ooh, technical. I'm not the most tech savvy person, but the next generation, your folks are like, oh, well, why aren't you doing this, this, this? Because I don't know how. Can you help me? Yes, I can help you. Okay. Well, what's that going to cost me? This much? Well, that's not that bad. Let's go. So we started rocking it out, and then next level stuff. And so just communicating with small town individuals that somebody had caught on, and it's somebody I trust and love and know. So it's a growing thing. So it's a contagious disease to do the right thing sometimes.
Yes. Yeah. There's a constant theme of all of the guests that we talk to about the proximity of this industry and how just interacting and to your point, communicating and being in the same room with our peers. It's just so important. Even in this day and age where things are going digital, there's still no replacement, to your point, Scott, for picking up the phone or attending the meeting and interacting with a colleague or peer.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And now with technology, COVID taught us a lot, but I didn't realize, we need that human interaction. Mm-hmm. We were not designed to be on this earth alone, period. Mm-hmm. So why don't we reach out for help? Okay, we're in this together, and it's a common theme. Okay, well, what are you doing over here? Well, I wonder if it would work here. Well, why not? Let's try this. Oh, well, we need to adapt for that. And my way of doing things is not the same way that somebody else wants to do it. And that's okay. But we can learn together. We can retrofit. We can adapt. And really tweak these programs as long as we're meeting the intent, following the regulations, and doing all the right things. But then, we were at Denver and we were sitting out there in the exhibit hall, and I don't know how many, 11,000 people around and all this and that. And then all of a sudden we just sat down and was laughing and joking and having a cup of coffee and then going, next steps, outside the box thinking. I know. And like you said, it's small town, but it's not small minded.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, great. Here comes backflow prevention. Here comes PFAS. Here comes this. Here comes that. Oh,
there'll always be something. There's always going to be something, right?
Yeah. It's always something.
It's always going to be something.
And I think that's one of the things that I think sometimes the water industry gets a bad rap for being risk averse. And it makes sense when you consider the resource that is under the responsibility of a water operator. So like how to take chances. But I feel like one of the things that you've brought, and I'll kind of go back to a story one time when I was giving a presentation in Fort Wayne, and I needed was educating about the lead and copper rule, really trying to think of like, hey, how do we motivate folks to get started? You dialed in just like you're doing now, and you're like, look, if you're not you need to get started. You need to have some level of proactivity. In fact, if you haven't started yet, you're shit out of luck. And I think we can say that on the podcast, but
no, you can't say that, but I can.
I think I can say it on the podcast. I don't know about the webinars. That's why we're doing a podcast.
Yes.
No,
But the funny thing is, you're right, because we had that conversation, because I'm asking you, Isaac, why are everybody in the industry procrastinators?
Yeah.
Well, it's reality. Not everybody jumps in first thing. And I had so many I'm saying battle buddies like my veteran. I have so many water utility friends around here in small town Indiana and southern Indiana that are calling me going, I heard you were doing this. I heard you were doing that. Yes, I am, and then where are you at on it? Well, I'm 99% done. What? And I'm like, please tell me you started already. Like, get off your, and I almost said, get off your ass. Get on it. Why have you not started? Hurry up. Why are you not done yet?
Yeah.
It doesn't cost that much money. You need the technical advice and consultation. Start now. Like me, I'm already thinking, where are we going to be on the next regulations? Hey, everybody, start now.
Start now.
Don't wait. How many updates do we have to get from EPA, IDEM, you all, everyone at these conferences, the state associations, AWWA, the Alliance, the IWEA, all these different things. People talk about it, and talk about it, and talk about it, and talk about it, and talk about it. I'm done talking. Why aren't we not doing it yet? Hurry up. Why are you taking so long?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we go to break after those conference sessions like you did. And I've got people talking to me at the bar, talking to me at lunch, talking to me at break or whatever. Man, thanks for motivating me.
but maybe that's the service, piece of you. One of my favorite quotes is, and I'm going to paraphrase, but you're going to know what I'm talking about, is a good plan ruthlessly executed today is better than the perfect plan tomorrow. And I think sometimes this water industry, because it's led primarily a lot by perfectionist engineers, right? We've got a lot at stake. Our water needs to be, perfect to pass these regulations, that sometimes we let the fear of get in our head, as opposed to, hey, this is a good enough plan to get to perfect or get to the outcome that we need to drive. And I think Scott, you were just you're a living, breathing example of, I think, that quote. Like it's just get up and act.
Yeah. Well, what?
Thanks.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone just says you all of your proactivity, as you said, sometimes gets you in trouble, but that's okay.
But the other thing is, it's like, oh my goodness, in the military and the Bible or whatever your thought process is, I picked up a weapon for 27 and a half years for your right to believe in this, this, and this. But the other thing is that we talk about is just like you said, we don't hope to take the hill. We make a plan and we execute it. We make a plan, rehearse, rehearse 3 times, but you make a plan and it needs to be achievable, attainable, reasonable, reliable, and then you execute it. And so many times, I ask utilities, so let me see your budget. Or it's chicken scratch, crayons on a marker or a marker on a napkin. Really? No, show me your budget. Where is it under compliance, water quality, whatever, but make a plan, get everyone involved and execute it. And there's less stress when you do that.
Yeah.
When you're, I don't have enough people. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough money. Yeah. Well, just keep jumping through your rear end then, But if I could stop them for a half hour, show them examples, because I didn't make it up.
Yeah.
Here's my budget. Here's my plan,
Yeah.
30, 60, 90 days, 120 days, 6 months, annual budget, whatever, make a plan, short-term, long-term.
Yep.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Yeah.
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 I love it.
That answers the question I was gonna ask, but then you just answered is like about the lesson. No, that's totally fine. I think that it's like what are the lessons from the field that you apply today, and that I think that's it.
Yeah.
It's like that's been no matter what your role was at any point in your career, it's make a plan, execute it, like
And rally the troops.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. It's get everyone on board, which
Mhm.
I think is that is a critical piece of the success, right? It's getting everyone on board, which you do very well, Scott.
Absolutely. Even, like if there's a water leak, guess what we do? Truck bed meeting, hurry up. Okay. Do we have a shovel? Do we have a pump? Do we have a clamp? Do we have fuel in the vehicles? What are we digging with? Where are we going? What do we do? Traffic control, this and that, blah, blah. And there's so many aspects, and you run through your I almost said pre-combat inspections and pre-combat, but you run through your checklist and you make sure you have everyone and everything in place. Public notification, public information, whatever. The office knows, the management knows, how much is it going to cost? How much water? Blah, blah, blah. Boilers. So, even in the industry, just from a ditch digger, they still plan, then they execute. They know their job and they know their job well. So why aren't we doing it at every level within the industry?
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so you're touching every level of the industry now at this point in your career, and you're probably at the educating our next generation more than anybody I know right now. What do you think are some of the challenges? And then we'll get to opportunities of the next generation of professionals.
Time, money, the resources, the knowledge, the plan, and the execution phase of it. Because right now, I literally ran from an operator certification class that I've been doing all day and went, oh no, I got to get on with Megan and Isaac. And then, of course, we have technology issues and everything else. But it's like, no. I have a class that I do called Back to the Basics because small town USA may not have people within their utilities that can invest in the next generation adequately because they're so busy, they're so overfunded, or there's so much politics or whatever. But I'm finding out, even just back to the basics, the Safe Drinking Water Act was adopted from the Clean Water Act, and it was adopted in 1974 for safe drinking water, clean water, public health. Okay, so now from 74 to 2025, guess what you're dealing with? The effects of the amendments of the Safe Drinking Water Act. Okay, so I have people that I'm saying, here's a test question, here's a test answer. Okay, do you know how to do basic calculations? Do you know the difference between the lead service line, or how we're dealing with the inventory, or how to pronounce certain words in the new regulations that are coming with PFAS, disinfection byproduct rule, the surface water treatment rule, the level 1, level 2 assessments if something goes wrong. And I am finding out that the next generation has not even been taught the basics of these next rules, and it's going to be a challenge, and it's going to be, we're going to own, larger companies are going to own all the smaller utilities if we're not careful, because of regionalization and just being able to handle the technical expertise.
Yeah.
So having people in the industry that we can rely on to say, help me stay compliant
Yeah.
Yes.
with these new requirements.
Yeah.
And the new generation just don't have the time, the money, the resources to be trained on that unless we're getting it through our outside sources.
Yeah. I'm going to lob this one in. And we didn't prep you for this, Scott, but I'm genuinely curious to get your answer on the pod. Do you think AI could play a role in that? Where do you stand in AI and how that could affect
I had a meeting with a buddy of mine he is a wonderful thinker and technology person that has helped me with cybersecurity. Tuesday morning at 6:30 in the morning, I sat down and had coffee with him about AI. And he was like, oh, I could come into your water utility, because he helped me with my cybersecurity program. because we got hacked,
Yeah.
and it's tragic.
It's real.
And then so he's like, I could come up with 30,000 documents and things on the internet, and I could throw it out there with AI to make your, whether it's stock or customer comfort level and reliability about your utility, consumer confidence. But they could throw something on the internet that is bad and negative so quick using so many things that they can reach us with through AI. And he said, so I could come in and hack and just destroy things terribly with AI. But he said the other side of that is I can analyze all of your operations and find great efficiencies to save you time and money. So then I said, oh, great. So then I'm going to be out of a job because AI can just manage everything. No, 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 no. But it can give you the time and the resources to use the data to properly manage the capacity of the utility, being not the gallons, but managerially, technically, and financially. See where there are improvements. So we could use AI for the good, and it is coming whether we like it or not. I did not like a lot of the other things that have came into this generation. Tough. It's here. So I've got a buddy of mine that really gave us, we had 12 of us guys at the table having coffee, and we all had jaws dropped. And, like you said, not small-minded.
Yeah.
We were thinking next level, and I'm just like, I had no clue. I had no clue that it was going like this.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's really interesting. To your point, Scott, I'm done fighting, and I'm past, I am past, okay, how do we use it for good? And so, I even think, like, as a parent and my freshman, it's like, okay, I'm done fighting it. So how can we use it for good? Like, are there ways that we can use it to further their learning, to bridge, maybe you don't have to learn everything to the minute detail anymore, but it's more about how do you learn the things to, like, take that to the next level. And so my brain is, always on.
Your brain is always on, but so is the other intelligence.
Yes.
Whether it's artificial or not, it's getting data from somewhere. So, I had a customer service text last night from somebody in my life group, and he's like, "Hey, is this your water company doing this?" And he sent it to me, and I'm like, no, it's not mine, but hang on a minute. So I used my iPhone and I went in and did speech to text and did some searches, and AI found out, oh, that was this,
Yeah.
And it was like, whatever, service line insurance. And what that was the company has changed names and they've been purchased, and corporation changes, and it happens all the time, and that's fine. But what it was is, oh, well, that is from this company, and it's a refund check, and you may recognize it by this name or this and that. And AI popped it up like that. And so they sent it to their homeowners association, where it was like on social media, and everybody was getting ramped up, and they're like, well, Scott Hamm said this, and he gave me this picture of this, explanation. And then it wasn't 2 minutes later, he's like, yep, she found it. She went back and looked on the counter, found the letter, and it's exactly what you said. And I'm like, thank you, AI.
Thank you for mining all of that data to give me a response in seconds.
That's it.
Yeah.
And the data that it was mining was, global.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. It's amazing.
But it's like ding, ding, ding.
Yep.
Meta, AI, you be careful. Here it is.
I know.
So, like you said, use it for the good. How are we going to do next steps? But how are we going to use it in the industry, and where are you taking it? And, we've talked before about all the different diversities of needs within the utilities for compliance,
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's no wonder that you're so skilled at juggling so many things, whether or not it's on a unicycle or not. I just think this has been such a valuable conversation. I wish we could have another hour or so, and
maybe there will be a part 2 coming.
There might have to be a part 2, but
so let me ask you this. I'm going to flip the table on you, and you don't know this. What's next for you all?
What is next for us?
Well, that's a great question. I mean, so
I thought so. That's why I asked
Yeah.
you, Megan. Come on. What's
oh
next?
my gosh.
Wow,
This is a first.
Yeah. you're so bold. That big mouth.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so much is like, what are the challenges that the water industry has?
Mm-hmm.
How do we keep building the products? And a lot of that is part of why we're doing this too. It's like, we need to listen more than we talk.
Yes.
And now we get the privilege of doing it and letting, thousands and hundreds of millions of people listening on this conversation.
So for us, we're just, Isaac and I have been talking about doing this podcast for years, not months. And finally to be able to bring this platform to bring in, the 9 years worth of just incredible conversations. I mean, in 47 years, how many thousands or tens of thousands of so many interesting people have you met? And so, this platform is going to be a way to expand that and just continue to have those great conversations. And then I'm not going to give you the secrets at 120 Water yet. Scott.
Yeah. Feed all that back in.
But here's the thing. But that was my segue, is because it's like, oh my goodness, I started doing this and I started doing that. And then, okay, well, what about this? Well, what about that? And all these think tank ideas. It's like, oh, I know there's something coming next. But, it's like, oh my goodness,
Yeah.
how are we going to do this together? So I just appreciate you all being on our side, and thank you for having me on here as I continue to grow and expand in my career. It's been really, really cool to just be able to see everyone through the industry helping each other be progressive.
Well,
so thank you.
Or you are, when we like to kind of give our user personas a face and a voice and a real character. And I will tell you, Scott, when we think of who we want our small systems to be like, it's be like Scott. Just act like Scott. So you have been personified in the 120 Water ethos. Yes.
Oh, man. This has been a pleasure. I can't wait to see you at the next conference, Meter Challenge, Hydrant Hysteria, what have you. But but I look forward to our next conversation.
Well, you warned us, and that is correct. Certainly entertaining. And I actually did not know that Scott rode a unicycle.
And juggled.
Well,
it all makes sense now.
But Scott, one of the things I've always appreciated is he doesn't take himself too. He has got just like the best demeanor. I feel like for rolling with the punches and being in this industry, and so optimistic in spite of everything, and so resilient. And he's not only a water operator, but he is an operator. The way he runs his systems, and honestly, everything he does like a business is just, so remarkable. And I think just a model to pay it forward to a lot of other small utilities out there.
1,000%. And just the way he kind of doubled down on that, the way that he goes from reading a meter to needing to understand the finance count, like every dollar counts, but that needs to get reinvested into how we manage water, plus all the regulations. It's his proactive attitude has always been something that's been really welcome to the industry, and I know he's incredibly well respected. And so if you ever get a chance to come to an Indiana conference or a national AWWA show, you'll see and hear Scott, and beyond entertaining, it's just worth your time. And so thank you so much for tuning into this conversation. Please like, share, follow, do all the things in all the places. And if there's anyone else that you would love to hear from, please let us know. We love talking to people who make water work, and we can't wait to have you join us next week for our next guest. Thanks for listening to the Make Water Work podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss a conversation. We'd love to hear your thoughts and questions. Connect with us on LinkedIn or send us a message. Together, we can make water work for everyone.